What is going on, everybody, and welcome on in to episode 305 of the Garage Beers podcast, brought to you proudly here on the OBR streaming network. If you are not a subscriber of the OBR, make sure you get over to theobr.com, you hit subscribe, and you join the best, oldest, largest independent Cleveland Browns coverage site in all of the land. Here's the QR code right here. You can scan it and join right there. And as a part of that, you officially then become affiliated with us here on Garage Beers, where we talk about the Browns, but we also talk about all of our favorite teams, which we're going to do tonight, as we are about 2 weeks away from Cleveland Guardians baseball, real baseball being played. And so we've got a great special guest, Zack Meisel, joining us from The Athletic. He'll be here in just a few minutes. But then later tonight, we are going to talk about the Browns as free agency is open and the Browns have been making moves. We're going to talk about, again, the continually surging Cleveland Cavaliers and Columbus Blue Jackets. We'll dive into all of our favorite teams. And so it's a big night here on episode 305. We are happy that you are with us. Just a quick programming note. If you know people that normally watch us over on the X side of things, it's giving us an error. We can't stream to X tonight. So we're getting an error. If you normally would see us on X, or you want to watch us on X or whatever, just tell people if they ask you. Get over to YouTube, get over to Twitch. You can watch us there. We are live. So with all that being said, with you as always, I'm your host, Michael Keefe. Go find me online at Garage Beers Mike. Joining me in the garage, my co-hosts, Chad Meyer, Joey Whalen at Garage Beers Chad, at Garage Beers Joe. Boys, episode 305. Let's do this.
Nah, I'm going to quit. Bye.
All right. See you later.
Hey, so that whole, this best athletes, whoever the best athletes in sports is one of those unwinnable arguments, right?
Right.
Yes.
Right. Okay. All right. Because I'm probably late to the party on this clip, but I came across a clip of Bussin' with the Boys today with they asked Bryce Harper who the best athletes in the world are, and he said baseball players, and I'm like,
I think that would be I think that'd be my last answer.
Yeah. Now. Again, it's an unwinnable argument, right? You're not going to be able to win it, but if you want to get into specifics, then I could see if you wanted to say baseball players have the best hand-eye coordination in sports.
Yeah,
sure, I'll listen to that. But best athletes, come on.
Yeah, I've seen too many baseball players that were just really good at bat speed and hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
That were not what I would call that. I don't think you'd make it up and down a basketball court twice.
Adam Dunn isn't outrunning anybody, right?
It's kind of like saying golfers. I still think there's several baseball players that could light a heater in the dugout and still be really good at playing baseball. There's not a lot of sports. There's not a lot of sports you can have John Daly's out there,
right?
Still being good, right?
Right. Yeah,
I do like this. We're getting going in the comments already. My buddy, here, great example. My buddy Jared Gilkerson's hanging out over on Facebook. You can watch us on Facebook too. Bob Wickman, best athlete ever. Yes. They're great athletes, but they're great specifically. Right. Here's my thing. I don't like the other conversations though, because then I feel like I'm okay with putting down the athleticism overall of baseball players. But I'm not about to put down the athleticism of a hockey player. I'm certainly not about to put down the athleticism of a basketball player or a soccer player. The endurance of soccer players is wild. There's no other sport I really want to put down the athleticism of, but baseball, let's maybe knock there.
Each of them have their own little. Oh, go ahead, Joey. Go ahead.
I was going to say we could talk about curling and table tennis a little bit, but other than that,
right.
But at the same time, here's where baseball players get credit. I don't care who the other athlete is and what sport they play. You put a baseball bat in their hand and throw 97 miles an hour, and it's going past them before they even start swinging.
Right. I think that's what I was getting to. Each of them has their great equalizer, right? A baseball player is not going to get on a rink and all of a sudden be able to skate around, skate circles around anybody.
Right.
It's if a hockey player is going to line up against a 6'8", 305-pound left tackle, he's not going to get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Each of them have their like great equalizers over the other. So I just find that argument so like funny when you hear it. I mean, it's fun to talk about. You can talk about it all night, but it's like there's really no definitive answer.
I love this. Jared also just started our show. Like we were on for like minutes. Boom. Favorite Browns running back of all time. Quick answer. Go.
Kevin Mack.
Nick Chubb, man.
Oh, Nick Chubb. I like that. There's nothing wrong with Nick Chubb. I think sometimes you think of like modern, you think you're answering the question wrong. Nah, Nick Chubb. Awesome. Mine's easy. He's a former guest of this show from episode 200. Eric Metcalf will always be one of my favorite Browns of all time, but favorite running back, easy, Eric Metcalf.
Dude, speaking of the endurance of soccer players, that branding for that Cleveland team is fucking awesome.
Oh, the Forest City?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Oh, what's the team called?
So Cleveland's getting an MLS Next team. So it's like the AAA team for the MLS. And they're called Forest City Cleveland. Check out the branding, dude. Unreal. I might actually go to my first soccer game ever.
Yeah, you should look it up. It is spectacular. Spectacular. Phil is mad at us for not saying Jim Brown for favorite Browns running back. Listen, is he the best? Yes. Did any of us ever watch him play? No. Like, it's just hard. It's hard in that way. Yeah, really clean. If you haven't seen the logo for the new Cleveland Professional Soccer League, go look it up. It's really nice.
Yeah, anyways, I love that.
Listen, a little bit later in the show, we're going to talk about actual current Brown stuff. We'll dive into the Cavaliers right now, playing Orlando in a very close game in the third quarter. The surging Columbus Blue Jackets. We'll get to all of it a little bit later in the show, but we're going to start with our special guest. I see that he's popped on in the background, a guy we have talked to before, had a great time talking with him last year. Plan on doing it again tonight, and now we're doing it at a more beer-friendly hour, and I think that was like the key to us having him back on. Was we couldn't do that last time, but now we can. He is a writer for The Athletic. He hosts the always awesome Selby is Godcast, and not many people cover the Cleveland Guardians like this gentleman here. We're going to bring him in right now. Our special guest, Zack Meisel. Zack, welcome back into the Garage Beers podcast.
What's up, guys? I hope you don't mind. I'm still celebrating Christmas, I guess. We got a Christmas ale from Great Lakes.
Hey!
I buy a six-pack every year in October when they come out. First of all, they come out earlier every year.
Yes.
Now it's like second week of October. And so I purchased a six-pack, and I think this is the second one I've cracked open. You would think with two toddlers that you would lean on it more. And I don't know. I'm always tired. This is tough. I might fall asleep on this podcast.
You're welcome to. Chad slept through the first half of last week's podcast. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah. So I know I feel your pain, Zach. Quick question for you, Zach. Is it in light of this is more for Joey's information? Is it a good batch of Christmas ale that you have?
Yeah, I mean, they brewed it 6 months ago. This happens every year. I stick it in my fridge in the garage and I forget about it. And then when it comes time to next Christmas and I'm putting out drinks for people when we're hosting something, I find the previous year's batch. So hopefully, well, 2 of the 6 will not make it to Christmas of 2026. That's something.
That's
they're climate controlled. They're safe in there.
Brown bottle is key. All right, Zach, you kicked us off. We saved our Garage Beers of the Week for when you got here. So you kicked us off with a Great Lakes Christmas ale. You can't go wrong with that. But let me throw it around the horn real quick before we get into guards talk. Chad, what about you? What's your beer of the week this week?
I just got myself another Stumbleberry from Fatheads. Get in there. There we go. I mean, we all know. I mean, it's been a repeater of mine on here, and it's just a tasty beverage.
I don't know if you saw the picture I put online yesterday, but if you haven't done it, you need to do it. Grab yourself a spoon, grab yourself a Guinness, and layer Guinness on top of the Stumbleberry like a black and tan, but with Stumbleberry on the bottom. Unbelievable.
All right. Threaten me with a good time.
Yeah. Joe, what's your beer of the week?
I got a great Seattle brewery, Georgetown Brewing. Meowza. Little cat.
Yes.
Double IPA.
Love that. All right. Got the double IPA going there. Zach, I'm going to join you with local beer, at least. Not Great Lakes, but I'm going to go to Fatheads. Mine is also seasonal, but it's more this season. We are fully into the Irish beer mode. And so I'm going with the St. Fatty's Irish Red Ale from Fatheads. here in Cleveland, and it's just a nice little red ale. So those are our garage beers of the week. Let us know what you're drinking in the comments. But now we're going to dive in to episode 305. And Zach, it's hard to believe you've been out to Arizona. You've been all over the place covering this team all off season. It's hard to believe we're about 2 weeks away from opening day. And I want to start with this, Zach. I want your impressions on this. Joe lives out in Seattle. He's going to be at the opening day game. I want your impressions of this. This is the new snack offering in Seattle for the Mariners.
Saw that. Yeah, what's the total price? Because at first I saw $8, and then I realized that's just for the boat container.
Probably like 54, I would imagine.
$54. Yeah, sounds about right.
I will tell you, I don't typically mess with concessions. We get our terrible press dining. I shouldn't say that. Some places it's all right. But Seattle, I do. I a lot of times will go walk the concourse and find something, and they have great options. I saw they have like 8 or 9 new things, and a bunch of them looked really good. So I'm excited for that.
It's tough to tell in this picture here too, but that is a Kid Valley chicken tender. I know it when I see it. That is garlic, and it is very, very good. There is a lot of garlic in that boat. But they do have a really good, like, diverse set of options there. And it's pretty good finds.
The French fries. That is what I remember about going to a Mariners game a couple years ago with you, Joe. The fries at Mariners games, unbelievable.
Is it crickets or grasshoppers that they have there?
Yeah, they do fried. I think it's fried crickets.
Yeah,
that's where you lose me. That's where you lose me. There's not enough here.
You got to get a food review going on that one, Joey.
Not enough here. All right.
I don't know.
So Zach, let's talk about the Cleveland Guardians as we get ready for the season. An offseason that went kind of as expected in some ways, in that the Cleveland Guardians to go out and spend a ton of money, and nobody should have expected them to do that. You get a couple surprises. You were the one that reported seeing Rhys Hoskins in the locker room, and now he is a Guardian, and that was a fun little treat in spring training. But just as far as just the way now that we can kind of put the offseason in and wrap it up with a bow, just the way the offseason went, obviously there's still in the background that horrific scandal with Clase and with Ortiz. Wrap up the offseason. I got a question about that for you in a minute, but kind of put a bow on the offseason on how you think this went for the Guardians.
How I think it went is that nobody is more thrilled than Chris Antonetti and Paul Dolan and Mike Chernoff that Chase DeLauder and Travis Bazzana and George Valera have had great springs, and that's what people are talking about. I remember back to a conversation I had with someone in the organization in maybe like late October, and we were just talking about what the next few months might entail, because I'm looking at the payroll. I'm not seeing much on there. Have some flexibility. You had a really nice finish to the season. I'm thinking, oh man, imagine building off of that. And they told me, I'm sure we'll get to the beginning of next season and everybody will be disappointed in what we didn't do. And shame on me for not listening to that and remembering that, right? But when you see that their payroll is 79 million or wherever it's standing now, and I think last I checked, it was second lowest in the league. I think ahead of only the Marlins. And again, it's just, we repeat the same things over and over, and I get exhausted talking about this, but I don't think it gets scrutinized enough. The fact that, like, whatever you want to say about revenue and the state of the game, and like, it's a mess. I get that.
Yeah.
But you've won the division 3 or 4 years, and the common denominator on why you haven't gotten further is the offense, right? It was as bad as it gets last year, like historically bad for a team that won a division. So I just don't understand why you won't take that next step and won't invest a little bit more. And like, this is when you should be getting uncomfortable. I remember talking to an owner of another team last year who was saying, you can't accomplish anything if you don't take risks at some point. And this organization has gotten so risk averse. And really, though, if you want to paint it a certain way, you could say the biggest risk is just leaning on all of these unproven commodities like DeLauder and Bazzana and Valera and Kafis and everybody else that they're going to lean on. So I think it's doubly frustrating for Guardians fans because I'm sitting here and I want to skewer ownership here. I want to criticize the front office for not swinging certain trades and clutching onto prospects too much. And at the same time, I don't want that to overshadow the fact that I actually think this team's going to be fine. I don't know if they're going to win the World Series, which should be the goal since it's been almost 80 years. But like, there's a lot to be excited about. All the young hitters are legit. This isn't like hoping that Bradley Zimmer learns how to hit an off speed pitch. This is like several people who have been top 25 prospects in the sport being ready to hit major league pitching, and you're just trying to keep them healthy. So it's complicated. It's not fun. Like, this is why nobody talks about baseball in Cleveland from the months of November to April ever is because of this. So hopefully one day that'll change, but it's good when you get out of the weeds and you get to spring training and there's actually a reason for hope, and we can stop yelling about payroll.
At this point, yeah, right. I mean, it's at this point in the this ownership's tenure. Like, why should we expect them to do anything that they haven't done? That they haven't done in the last few years. But was it an owner that the owner you talked to, was it not asking any names? Was it an owner who does spend some money?
It wasn't an owner in Cleveland's sort of position. I'll say that.
Okay. All right.
It was not someone in the bottom 5 of payroll, but I think the point is, like, and it's easy for, your hedge fund guy whose net worth is $15 billion to take risks and try to spend on free agents. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, there's a lot in the sport that needs fixing. That's probably why there's not going to be, baseball from December 1st, 2026 until God knows when. But like, still, imagine the difference it would make if instead of 80 million, your payroll was 110, and even that would be toward the bottom of the league.
Yeah, still bottom 10.
Right.
Yeah, no, and I don't want to get into a payroll thing because it gets me all riled up, and here's the problem is people. Now, I think we could have a nuanced conversation about it, but people it just immediately goes to, yeah, but they win. And it's like, no, that's not it. Of course they do, and we appreciate that. And then you get the people like, what do you want them to do? Be the Dodgers? No, I don't want them to be the Dodgers. I just want them to spend more than they did in like 1994. Right. And I don't think that's too much to ask. But like, again, that is a road to go down. Now, I do have a question, and this is a little bit payroll related, and I'm sure this has been written about, and I think maybe I've just missed it. But they've got this situation going on that is still lingering there with it's not really lingering. I mean, it's like a terrible thing with Clase and Ortiz and all that. But was there like is there a financial ramification for the team for that? Are those guys off the books for that? I haven't really seen that. Are they not paying those guys anymore? What's happening with that?
Yeah, they there's a lot of people in that building that are really, really anxious to get to the end of the trial, because I think people want to let off some steam and maybe speak publicly or off the record about a lot of things. One of the elements of this is the financial ramifications, where, look, I've been covering that. This is like my first foray in a long time into the legal side of journalism, and it's actually been more fascinating than I've thought. And I've read more legal documents than I ever wanted to over the last couple of months. But it's insane to me. Like, I can't wrap my head around the scenario where Clase is innocent, right?
No, right.
You want to talk about roosters, that's fine, but like, I'm reading your text where you said, I'm going to throw the rooster low, or the rock low at the rooster. Like, what could that possibly mean?
The eagle has landed.
Yeah. So I think I loved the one where he was like, I have to take care of the first 2 roosters and then go for the third one if I take care of the first 2. It's like, come on.
The umpire is going to call the second rooster I throw a ball.
Yeah.
So point being, you're innocent until you're proven guilty. Sure. But what's going to happen if because the trial has been pushed to November.
Yeah.
So the Guardians had to pay these guys last season, even after they got put on the restricted list. They paid Clase. I don't remember what his salary was last season, but maybe $4 million or something. But they had to pay the last 2 months while he was on the sideline what he was owed. And I think last year they were like, they were frustrated by that, but they were like, okay, we don't have all the information yet. The indictment hadn't come out detailing everything they had done. They didn't know Clase had been doing this allegedly for 3 seasons at that point. So there was a lot they didn't know. It was whatever. It was only 2 months. Clase is owed $6.4 million this year, and I'm not going to cry for Paul Dolan if he's got to pay that because he's not paying anybody else. But but it is like, what happens if this guy is convicted and he's guilty and he has to go to prison in November, and he just earned $6.4 million this year when, like, we've all read the stuff and we know what allegedly was going on? It's just, I don't know. I wonder if there's a way. The problem is that the league and the union have to come to an agreement on something. So I don't know if they could stick his salary in escrow or something and just then wait on the trial. But Clase was adamant that this trial didn't get pushed back. He wanted it to happen in May as originally scheduled because he was worried that if they pushed it back, MLB would find some way to not let him get paid. So yeah, it's a mess, and it has a lot of people with the Guardians very angry because they don't have answers yet.
Pat Shea says it's going to be a flush commissary. No, and that's, I guess I went into the offseason thinking like, okay, well, maybe that frees up like 10, 12, whatever million that they can use over here. But they're still on the hook for this. Like, it's outrageous. Anyways, let's talk about more fun stuff, and let's get in to the actual team. And when you look at, you hit on the first thing. So let's start with just construction of what this is going to look like right up front. And you talked about some of these guys that are mashing in spring training, and we obviously saw Bazana basically became a star at the World Baseball Classic. He had his struggles last year a little bit, though. And I think nobody should really expect – I don't expect to see Travis Bazana out there on the opening day roster. I just don't think that's going to happen. So I think DeLauder, yes. Which guys do you think are going to be major parts of it from the jump, and which guys do you think they're going to have back down in the minors for a little bit?
Yeah, I think you'll see – I think DeLauder and Valera. I think Rhys Hoskins' arrival probably sends CJ Kafis to AAA. And then I think it's – the Bazana thing's interesting. You know, it's not like he has to change anything dramatically. Like, there's not a hole in his swing. There's not like the things that made him the number one pick. Awesome contact, great plate discipline. He's got some pop. We saw it, right? It wasn't just a home run in the World Baseball Classic. He launched one against the Dodgers before he left that went like 420 some feet, crushed it to right center field, to the point that a bunch of players were leaving a meeting the next morning. They get back into the clubhouse in Arizona, and Bazana, the replay of that game is on TV in the clubhouse. They see Bazana is like walking to the plate on TV, and it's like 8 people. They're like, all right, stop. We got to see this again. These are like veterans. They don't even know this kid yet. I think that spoke volumes to me that they're all waiting for him. And so if he can just go to AAA, and I think he just learned he can't be super passive. I think in college, if you look at his stats, he walked a ton because he's just such a more advanced hitter than the pitchers were at that level. And you get to the minor leagues, I think there's some of that too. You still get some erratic pitchers out there, but he just had to be a little more aggressive. And I think if he goes to AAA for, I don't know, 3-4 weeks and proves that he's going to swing the bat, unless Brian Rocchio and Gabriel Arias are both tearing the cover off the ball.
Oh yeah, totally.
I think Bazana will be up as long as Bazana hits. I think he'll be up at some point in the first couple of months, and I think that's when it gets interesting. You know, you start looking at the lineup, and it's like right now you got Arias, and you got your catcher spot, and you got Rocchio, and you got, you know, are there going to be certain days Valera platoons? I'm not going to say Nolan Jones.
Oh,
they're going to be, you know, but you'll get certain days where like it'll be Angel Martinez or Hedges will be in there. Certain days where there's going to be some holes in the lineup, and then you look later in the season and maybe DeLauder's hitting and Valera's hitting, and Bazana, maybe Juan Burrito's found a spot. There's some exciting young talent.
I'm glad you took yourself back on Nolan Jones there, because that was the other thing I was going to say at the beginning. When they made the comment that they didn't want to make a lot of moves in the offseason because they didn't want to get in the way of any of these other guys, and then you're giving these at-bats in spring training to Nolan Jones. Those can't exist at the same time. So hopefully that doesn't happen a lot in the regular season. Go ahead, Chad. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm just had a question in my mind pop up. There's so many in every sport. There's preseason darlings, and there's guys who you expect more out of that might not have good preseasons. I was wondering, as far as baseball goes, Zach, like how much stock are we supposed to put into a guy who has a good spring or a bad spring when it comes to the regular season, right? Like, guys like Jose, we know what we're getting out of him, but I'm talking like guys like Valera and whatnot.
Almost none. Depends what you're looking at, right? You can't look at stats. They mean so little. It's the habits. It's the input. You can look at, so there are extremes. You can look at Nolan Jones and say he's 3 for 26 or whatever with 13 strikeouts and realize that dude's swinging and missing a ton. And that's not a good formula, right?
Not great.
You look at a pitcher and is the velocity there? Are you getting swings and misses? Tanner Bybee's stat line might not have looked great yesterday, but he got a ton of swings and misses, and guys just weren't picking up what he was throwing well. So it's that kind of thing that can carry over. But these are tiny samples. We're talking about right now 20 at bats. That's in the regular season, not even a full week for a lot of guys, and everybody has bad weeks every month. So you just have to be careful. I think, especially at the beginning of the season, the 26 they're going to take to Seattle has to fit. So they're looking for, it's the timeline. There's an order of operations here where it's like, we got to learn about Arias before we can, we got to make a final decision on him before we can learn about Bazana or Brito. We want to see Hoskins before we're going to just throw Kafis out there and give him everyday runs. So yeah, I also think that the only other thing to your question, like the player mentality matters, where I've seen guys who it's ugly in the spring, and you can try to convince yourself that, once we get to the regular season, I'll flip a switch and it'll be okay. But it's not always that easy, especially if you're not experienced and you don't know what your cues are to make that switch. So that's why usually, like, I'd see someone with Nolan Jones stats in spring training, I'd be like, okay, it's fine. But like, given where he's been the last 2 years, and he's out there saying like, I didn't even think I was going to be back in Cleveland because I sucked last year.
Oh my God.
And he said that. And it's like, okay, well, the self-awareness is very high.
Same, Nolan.
That's good.
Now we know what his 700 messages are.
But it worries me a little bit because you're still performing that way. So
Zach, offensively, let's get real optimistic. Let's dive into the optimism. Chad, are you getting attacked by geese out there?
Yeah, there's a pond in the back, like catty corner to my house.
Coming at
you. All place. Yeah.
Let's get optimistic. And again, the Stephen Kwan year wasn't his best year by any stretch. He went through some real rough stretches last season. So let's say Stephen Kwan bounces back. Let's say Chase DeLauder is the guy, and he can make it through a season healthy and all that. And he's that guy. I think Kyle Manzardo, what he does is easily replicatable. I think the way he plays is, I think you could just pencil him in for a year like he had, if not even better. You know what Jose Ramirez is. Let's say you get kind of hot Bo Naylor a lot of the time, and he really puts it together. I mean, offensively, if you get elements of what Rhys Hoskins has been the majority of his career, and some of this stuff comes together, then yeah, you're going to have a spot with Rocchio that you shouldn't expect is just going to be magically great offensively, or Arias or whatever. But this could be an okay offensive baseball team.
I was wondering were you going to say okay? Were you going to say really good?
Okay is a dramatic increase.
Okay
is a dramatic improvement.
Yeah, I mean they hit 226 as a team last year with an OPS of 669. That's really bad.
Ew.
So
gross.
But you think about I think Quan can be better. I'm with you. I think replacing Nolan Jones at bats with Valera or a platoon of Valera Martinez, something like that, helps. Quan moving to center field opens up a lot of things too.
Yes.
Presuming that that's ultimately the way they're going to go. Because then you get Valera and DeLauder in there. I think that's huge. Like DeLauder, if he just stays healthy, and that's a humongous if. That's part of the reason why, even if this goes better, there's no excuse. Like you still could have added somebody over the offseason, just so you're not banking on this. The guy has played like once every 4 days in spring training because they want to be so protective of him. But I will tell you, he just rakes. Like it's incredible. He rolls out of bed, hasn't played in a week because he's got soreness or whatever, and he goes 3 for 4. It's wild. So there's reason to believe, you replaced Carlos Santana's non-production with Rhys Hoskins. That could be a plus. There's a lot of reason for optimism. There's a lot of risk. It's also, do we know all these young kids are just not going to have growing pains? I think Kyle Manzardo can be a really good hitter too, but he's also young. I think Bo Naylor can do more, but we haven't seen it, so I'm not ready to just make that assumption. So, yeah, can they get to a spot where they're middle of the pack? It's there for them. Bazana instead of Arias would help too, assuming that happens at some point in May or June. But we shouldn't gloss over how bad it was last year. It was really, really bad. So
wildly bad.
We know what's possible.
Yeah. And then you go to the other side. Obviously, you go to the pitching staff. And it was what a weird year it was, in my opinion, just a real strange year for the pitching staff last year, just because it seemed like everything went in waves. Like you had these waves where Gavin Williams was on the verge of a no-hitter, and he pitched like that for like weeks in a row, and then it was like, we're a tough Gavin Williams time. Or Slade Ciccone, unhittable during stretches, and then way too hittable during stretches, and it was a little too up and down. You got glimpses of Parker Messick. Joey Cantillo this year is the guy that everybody seems to be talking about, is the guy that everybody thinks is going to make this big leap, is Joey Cantillo. Just talk about what you think of this starting pitching rotation, and if you think maybe it smooths out a little bit, and if it can be, we're so used to it, Zach. I mean, we are talking about damn near 20 years of the Cleveland Guardians being just a pitching factory, a starting pitching factory machine. Do you think it can even out on the top end of that scale?
How quickly you forget the 2009 group that had David Huff making 23 starts and Carl Pavano.
Damn it, Mike.
Mike. There was no forgetting. It's just those are the offshoots, Zach. Those are the offshoots.
Fair enough. I have Jeremy Sowers starts burned in my memory. I think this is a wild card. I actually think I'm with you. I think the offense will be better. As someone put it to me on the team, it can't get worse, and that's the reason for optimism, right? And so there's that, and you do have, again, like DeLauder, top 25 prospect, Bazana, top 25 prospect, Valera a couple years ago before injuries, top 25 prospect. So there's at least like you're clutching onto hope of guys who deserve it. I think the bullpen, might have some growing pains early. And then I think by the end of the year, that could be as good as it gets in the league. I think Cade Smith is he could be a top 3 closer. I think with Gaddis and Armstrong and, this Peyton Pallette Rule 5 pick that they got looks electric.
Yeah.
I think they've even been a little caught off guard by that. Daniel Espino, I don't want to get people's hopes up too much, just given his history, but he's healthy and he looks really good. Andrew Walters has closer stuff. He's a little bit behind the other guys just on the timeline coming back from injury. Franco Almonte. I just think there's tons of depth and a lot of guys with lights out stuff in the bullpen. The rotation is the one spot where I don't know. And it's because we've seen Gavin Williams look like an ace, and we've seen Gavin Williams be that guy who's got 107 pitches through 4 1/3, and it's painful to watch. And we saw enough of him pitching well last year to make me think he can just do that for the entire season, but we don't have that evidence yet. Tanner Bybee, I think, is on a mission to prove to people that last season was not the real him. Same thing though. Like, I want to see it. I don't worry too much about those two guys. I just don't know what to expect from everybody else. Slade Ciccone is a complete wild card. His metrics last year were really scary if you peek under the hood.
Yes.
He did some good things. He had some really good starts, and he is obsessed with getting better, and he called himself a pitching nerd, and like all those things that would help you improve from one year to the next. Cantillo he's got everything he needs as long as he's hitting 92, 93 with his fastball and not 89, 90. Fastball, changeup, curveball trio is like he proved it's really hard to hit. His changeup is one of the best in the league. There are tons of reasons he could take the next step. It's the same thing though. I need to see it. Parker Messick, what we saw of him last season was really good. We just don't have enough evidence of him. So a long-winded way of saying, like, I think the bullpen is too deep to epically fail. I think the lineup has enough blue chip young talent to make that group better, and they can't get worse. The rotation, you could tell me that it ranks 25th in ERA this year. You could tell me it ranks 5th in ERA this year. I would believe either one. I just don't know what to expect. There's promise there. I just don't know. And if there are injuries, there's just not a lot of depth, right? Like I don't know if I mentioned Logan Allen, but those are your 6 guys, the 6 you ended with last season. And after that, it's not really anything that's ready yet. So they need to lean on those 6 and they have to stay healthy.
Where did the turnaround with Cantillo come, right? Because I remember, I think it was either a Kansas City or a Baltimore start that, I remember him coming in. I said, oh, great, Cantillo's starting. But then it looked like all of a sudden, like from that point on, he just magically figured something out.
Do you remember he started in Chicago against the White Sox when they were stumbling to 195 losses or whatever? in 24, and like Cantillo had been, he was rough as a rookie.
Yeah.
And I remember one of my assignments that night was to interview White Sox fans and ask, why are you here? And so I'm milling around the concourse for a lot of the night. I'm half paying attention to the game. And I remember looking up at one point, it's like the 6th inning. He's got a perfect game going.
Yes.
And I'm like, good God, like, of course. And so then I rush back up to the press box and I'm like trying to catch up on everything I missed. He carries this thing into the 7th inning. He looks completely dominant. This is going to sound so obvious and elementary. It's throwing strikes.
Yeah.
If you look at the nerd stuff, hitters did not chase his pitches out of the zone. They swung and missed a ton when he threw strikes. So they figured, if you've got your fastball that goes like this and your changeup that goes like this and your curveball that goes like this, and they're all in the same plane in that strike zone, hitters don't know what's coming. He's so lanky. He's 6'4", 6'5", and he's got super long arms.
Yeah.
And so his 92 looks like 95, 96. And, his changeup looks like the fastball. The curveball looks like the changeup. And it's so hard to hit. Like that.
Yeah.
That's the root of what makes a good pitcher. Now he's mixing in a slider this season to try to get a little bit east and west, something different. But it was merely just a mindset shift where it's just attack. No one is going to swing at your stuff if you're throwing it out of the zone. So just throw it over the plate and they're not going to touch it. And the last, I think 7 starts last season, his ERA was 150. So it's in there. It's just, can he do it over 30 starts?
Zack Meisel, we're going to get ready to let you go. One of my last quick things for you, but we got this season coming. You hinted at it before, but the big looming thing, there's a couple looming things here in Cleveland. Obviously, the looming potential stoppage lockout feels like there's crazy momentum for the first time ever, or at least forever, for a potential salary cap, because you had to know it. Once teams like the Yankees started complaining about how much other teams are spending, you have to know that something's going to change. We obviously here in Cleveland have a potential ownership transition. So just your thoughts on very quickly your thoughts on those two. Do you think we might actually see the day where baseball kind of levels things out and says we can't have one team spending $350 million more than another team? And is this, should fans be, what do you think fans should be feeling about a potential ownership change?
The second one's hard.
Okay.
The second one partially depends on the first. I don't know about a salary cap. I've been yelling this into the void for years and years and years. The sport, I hate the conversations we have around baseball. We could drink more beers and have a long talk about all the problems that exist in baseball that have taken it from America's pastime to a regional sport.
Yes.
In Cleveland, how many people in Cleveland can name 10 players on the Rays or the right? Like, but in the NFL, you know every quarterback and every running back, and you're following all the moves this week, and you're like, oh yeah, that team signed that left guard. That's a good move. I know his PFF score. And it's like, it's in baseball. The problem is that everything depends on your market size. And in the NFL, we talk about Green Bay like it's New York. We talk about Kansas City like it's LA. And like the Chiefs and the Dodgers are the two dynasties in these two sports in recent years. And those cities couldn't be more different, right?
Yes.
So
right.
It's a shame that it's gotten to this point. There are people in baseball who are rooting for the Dodgers to win another title this year because they think it would finally demand change. At this point, we're 9 months out from a potential work stoppage. Everyone's dug in, right?
Yeah.
Players are saying we'll never do a cap. Owners are saying we'll never do anything but a cap. Who knows what the arguments really will be. The interesting thing that hasn't existed previously is that owners are clashing more, right? You've got small market owners that are like, what am I supposed to do when the Dodgers just go get Kyle Tucker after they won another World Series?
Yeah.
And you're right, as you said, Mike, like the Yankees are saying that. So there's infighting with the owners, which makes me think, okay, well, something has to change. Is there going to be infighting with the players? It's still a mess in terms of like, it takes forever to get paid in baseball. You make the league minimum your first 3 or 4 years, then you get to arbitration. You make a couple $1,000,000 if you're lucky. But a lot of players don't last that long in the big leagues. And I think the players have focused so much on getting the top end talent, the Juan Sotos of the world, paid hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, which is great. But there needs to be change to the arbitration system, to how long teams can control you, to when they should promote you to the majors. Like, imagine in the NFL, if you draft your franchise quarterback, your top overall pick, like let's say the Raiders, Fernando Mendoza. I think he's going to start week 1 for the Raiders this year, right? But imagine if the rules were set up so that it was the Raiders would benefit. They'd get an extra year of his contract if they didn't start him until week 4. Like, that's how baseball's set up, where the Guardians get an extra year of control of Bazana if they wait a few weeks to call him up. Like, so it's just, there's so many things that need changing. The TV structure is probably up there among the biggest, where there are some teams that make $20 million a year off TV. The Dodgers make $330 million a year off TV. So it's just, and then you have owners who have different levels of motivation, and that leads to your second question, where I don't know David Blitzer at all. They've purposefully kept him in the shadows. They don't want him to come in like some savior to the organization. People have cautioned me he's not going to come in and raise the payroll to $200 million. He'll do what a typical owner does, where you do a goodwill signing or you make a couple moves just to get off to a good start. But
perfect. That would be awesome.
There's that, but there's also the idea of like, well, what if there is a salary floor? The numbers we've seen thrown out there, 140 million or something for a salary floor, and it's like the Guardians would have to have 60 million. That could have been Pete Alonso and someone else this winter.
Let's do that.
So Paul Dolan's not going to do that, but David Blitzer might. So the earliest he can take over is after the 2027 season. He's got some decision points on like what he wants to do, when he wants to do it. how involved is Paul Dolan after all of this? So there's a lot to sort out still. We'll get answers as we go, but you said it at the beginning, like, I'm never love my sport guy, but I feel like baseball gets in its own way so much and prevents itself from being more popular. And I wish it would stop doing that. And finally, we're at a spot where they might be forced to get out of their own way. But to do that, it might get ugly and it might cost us baseball, which would be the ultimate getting in your own way. So I don't know.
But if it results in getting it, like I am so at the point where if it results in getting out, get in your own way to get out of your own way, please. Because again, you talk about it with the fans, you talk about how long it takes these guys to come up, how they're just going to keep Bazana in the minors till May. Now, again, he maybe should stay there, but I always think of how long it took him to bring Francisco Lindor up when he was so ready to come up. And you're also costing yourself fans. When fans can't get behind guys without having Jose Ramirez is an outlier, the outlier of outliers. And you can't use him as an example of anything other than a guy having loyalty to a city and wanting to stay here. 99% of guys aren't going to do that. And it's so impossible. Like, bringing up kids in today's baseball, and they're going to have favorite players, but when your favorite player is a Guardian, it's like, well, it's the Paul Dolan quote. It's enjoy him season. That stuff has to stop. Like, these guys got to be able to, we got to be able to, like, get teams to be able to keep their players. It has to be able to happen.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll leave you with these 2 points. The number one, Chase DeLauder debuted in a freaking playoff elimination game. And if they wanted to, they could keep him in the minors for a few weeks to start the season and gain an extra year of service time.
It's ridiculous.
And like the fact that exists is ridiculous. And also, like, it is something they have to contemplate. But like, we just watched you put him out there in the playoffs, and you're going to tell us he's not ready for opening day? It doesn't really compute. And you're right. It's, Jose is the saving grace, because if your kid ever bought a Jose Ramirez jersey, they can keep it, and they don't have to, unstitch his name on the back and put who else wore Jamie Carroll wore number 11 one year, right? So, like, I remember Andres Gimenez was my son's almost 4. Andres Gimenez was his favorite player. Obsessed. When is Andres Gimenez for Halloween last year? And I remember he got traded in November, December of 24.
Yep.
And I remember being like, oh my God, never had to do this. This is my first foray with this. And having to tell your kid that their favorite player got traded. I didn't tell him for 2 months. And then I finally told him, and he didn't even care. But the moral of the story is there should be less of that. It is preventable, and I hope we get to a point where Jose Ramirez is not the unicorn. He's not the exception of the rule.
Yeah. Listen, the College World Series goes to what, late June? Fine. Like, if you go away and come back with a better system, fine. Like it's I'm willing to sacrifice a year of baseball for that.
Zach, this has been a blast, man. Are you going to be out in Seattle for the opener in Seattle? Might I suggest meeting up with Joe for a ferry boat of food? Because Joe will be at the game as well. You guys could smash this.
Sprinkle some crickets on top, and we're good to go.
Done.
Yes.
It'll be cold.
All right.
Sold. Hey, Zack Meisel from The Athletic, Selby's Godcast. Thank you for staying up late with us. Chad and I both have small children, so we know the challenge of that. But we appreciate everything you do, and we saw it in the comments as the conversation was going. But I know at one point you were called the godfather of Guardians media, and we love that for you. So, Zach, we love everything you do. We appreciate all your coverage, and we love that you come on, have a beer with us, and talk Guardians. And we look forward to a full season of your coverage throughout this year, man.
Well, being called the Godfather means a lot on a night where Team Italy advances in the World Baseball Classic. So I appreciate that. Appreciate what you guys do. So thanks for having me.
All right. See you, Zach.
Absolutely. Thanks, Zach.
How about Zack Meisel?
There
Again, I mean, Zach's I agree with that. I don't know that there's anybody that covers the Guardians better than Zack Meisel.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And when you have a situation like that, like we have here in Cleveland, it's very nice to have a guy like Zach be a friend of the show, because I'm going to tell you, it's hard to get guards people to come on here and talk. It really is. And so to have Zach as a friend is awesome. Anyways, Guardians baseball, Joey, 2 weeks from tomorrow, you will be at Safeco Field out there in your home, Seattle, and you'll be watching the Guardians take on a really good Seattle Mariners team. So that'll
I'm
be
stoked.
a lot of fun.
I'm not gonna lie, there are 78 other games that the Mariners will play here this year. I will go to a lot of them. I do have my Josh Naylor number 12 Mariners jersey ready to go after the Guardians leave.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there. I'm so stoked that Josh Naylor is here long term. I wish he was on the Guardians, damn it. But man, I'm excited to see that guy play. But I gotta tell you guys, living in Nashville for 13 years was a blast. Not having an MLB team blows. MLB, like hockey, like NBA, not football. Football sucks for this, but it's, the nature of how the sport is played, and you can't have more than one game a week. I get that. But to have games accessible all summer, it's just a great summer thing to do. It's nothing better than going to a ball game. And they're relatively good price now. I think there's a lot of momentum of budget concession stand options now, which is really great. Like, I will say, beer prices here are not ridiculous. They're definitely a little more than Cleveland, but it's really not that bad.
No, baseball is the ultimate. The other sports you can't do this with, but baseball is the ultimate. Shit, I don't have plans tonight. Let's go down and pick up a ball game.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes,
like a 20-game package here is $450 or something crazy like that. It's just damn, that's a no-brainer. I'd go to 20 games.
Yeah. Welcome to Safeco Field. Opening day here at Safeco Field, everybody. You can get a ferry boat full of truffle fries, and Randy Rosarina and Cal Raleigh are going to duke it out at Pitcher's Mound.
I'll get to see the first live. That'll be a hot topic, I'm sure.
Let's go. All right, boys. We're hitting about 10 o'clock here, about an hour into the show. Let's do our asshole of the week, where we just, call somebody out for being an asshole this week. And you know what? I'm going to go first because I'm going to keep it topical.
All right.
We just got done with the Olympics, right?
Okay.
And we talk so much about hockey and those teams and the way they approach the Olympics and all that. My asshole of the week is Team USA baseball in the World Baseball Classic. Mark DeRosa, former Cleveland Indian, is the manager of Team USA baseball. So we all know they lost to Italy, which is just outrageous. And
crazy.
Italy's filled with Italian-American guys that play in Major League Baseball and that are pretty good, but not as good as the guys that are playing for Team USA. And Mark DeRosa comes out and talks about how after Team USA, so Mark DeRosa is primary asshole of the week, but then Team USA baseball. After Team USA beat Mexico, they partied and celebrated, and they didn't give a shit anymore. And he makes this comment some guys came kind of stumbling into the locker room and blah blah blah, they didn't give a shit about the game. And so what happened? Team Italy just torched them, absolutely torched them. It was 5-0. Was it 8-0 at one point? It was.
Yeah, it was 8-0.
It was dominant. And then just to come off of watching U.S. hockey do what they did, the men's and the women's, and and then just the no pride. I know the World Baseball Classic isn't the Olympics, and it's kind of this made up thing, but you could tell these other guys from these other countries, you go watch Team Japan play, you could tell those guys care and give a shit. And Team USA just does not give a shit. They just don't give a shit. They're just there. It's they're still treating it like spring training. And it is what it is. Again, I don't want to make the World Baseball Classic out to be too big of a thing, but also when you're putting the name of your country on the jersey and you're going to represent in that way, take a little more pride, I guess. Take a little more pride.
Dude, the DR, every run they score, every home run they hit, you would think they won the World Series.
It's electric.
It's so electric.
Hell of a team too.
Yeah. Jeez. I love that. I love that too, by the way. If you ever watch a clip of the Dominican Republic starting lineup, it's Julio Rodriguez, Juan Soto.
Oh yeah, and then
Austin Wells.
Austin Wells.
What the fuck?
What?
Yes. All right, Chad, asshole of the week.
Mine is the NBA for canceling Atlanta's Magic City promotion, because just to not celebrate a historical landmark that is Magic City, the cultural icon that is Magic City. And of course, we're strictly talking about the lemon pepper wings. You can have them dry or wet at Magic City to just not really just be able to go forward. I mean, the Atlanta Hawks printed hoodies, right? To give away. They printed T-shirts.
Yep.
And just to not celebrate that just unbelievable place is not makes the NBA my asshole of the week.
Yeah. Yeah. There's the.
I have partaken in those lemon pepper.
I like it.
I have partaken in those lemon pepper wings, by the way, and they're amazing.
I also like it, but I do think it's very fair to call out how outrageous it was that we were this close to having the Magic City night.
Yeah, it's outrageous that we're not having it. Hello?
Yeah, fair.
Jesus.
They really went all in, and
dude,
I love it. And
dude, they make lemon pepper barbecue wings. Like, it's a lemon pepper mixed with barbecue.
No. And it's the wings. It's the wings that are the issue here. It's
what else are we talking about, Mike?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
You know what? I like I'm not going to poo-poo your asshole of the week. I think that's great. Joe, asshole of the week.
Nice. I got to poo-poo his asshole. Nice.
Son of a bitch.
I'm going to bring it back to the World Baseball Classic. The snubbing of the handshakes at the start of the game. Stop. That is so dumb. Cal Raleigh's an asshole for that. I forget the guy that did that between the Australia and Japan game. This is not playoff baseball. You don't even care about it if you're literally going out after that game and partying and enough to that you're going to get bombshelled by Italy. Just shake your hand, especially if it's your teammate's hand that you're like blood, sweat, and tears through 162 games throughout the year. Shake their hand on a national stage. I don't know. I don't think it's a spirit of competition to not do that. I think that's a really douchey move. So shake hands. It's fine.
It's forced and it's stupid. Like, I like real competition and competitive spirit and all that. And that kind of shit is forced. It's forced. It's dumb. Yeah. It's like guys say it because they think it makes them look tough or something. Like, oh, don't shake hands. You sound like an idiot. You sound like an idiot.
It's your left
100%.
fielder. Shake his hand.
100%.
So stupid.
100%. All right. Those are our assholes of the week. If you got one that you want us to say something about, just chuck it in the comments and we'll put it up. But boys, let's dive into just some kind of quick segments on the rest of our teams that we follow, because there's kind of stuff to talk about with all of them. Most notably, let's talk about the Cleveland Browns, and let's do it in, for once, kind of a weirdly positive light.
Yeah.
The tampering period, which is the dumbest thing. The NFL always tries to one-up itself in dumb. Like, we talked about how dumb baseball is eternally dumb, and Zach, I think, brought up so many things that nobody talks about enough. Like, sure. I don't know why we don't talk more about why some guy just has to sit in the minors just because. Like, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. But the NFL definitely tries to out-dumb itself when we go from the dumb NFL combine to now the dumb legal tampering period.
Right.
Which is the stupidest thing on the planet. But the legal tampering period starts Monday. The NFL league year started today. And boys, we went into this offseason with the Cleveland Browns. And we said, okay, we're going to leave. Quarterback is just its own thing. But we know the Cleveland Browns have got to address the offensive line because Jack Conklin won't be back. And Wyatt Teller said he wasn't coming back. And we don't know what's going on with Joel Bitonio until a little bit more clarity today. And you can't count on DeJuan Jones. And Ethan Posich destroyed his leg at the end of the year last year. So he's not going to be back. And he was a free agent anyways. So, like, you had no offensive line. And the Cleveland Browns went out at the start of the free agency period. And they traded for Titus Howard. And then They signed Zion Johnson, the guard from LA. They re-signed Tevin Jenkins, who, like, that was the whole drama last year, was the Browns were playing Tevin Jenkins more than they were playing Wyatt Teller. They re-signed Tevin Jenkins. And then Elton Jenkins, this was the one today that was great. The multiple-time Pro Bowler center from the Green Bay Packers, Elton Jenkins, gets signed. And all of a sudden, boys, outside of probably a left tackle, the Cleveland Browns have built an offensive line in like 3 days.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it, as soon as the season ended. There's never more. I don't know that there's ever been a more clear-cut plan as to what you need to do as far as an offseason plan here for the Browns, and that was to build an offensive line and get weapons on offense. And this is the free agency period is what we expected, right? We expected them to build the offensive line through free agency. Yeah, they're still going to draft one or two in this upcoming draft, but I mean, obviously, you just look no further than the Bears, and that's exactly what they did. You model after the Bears. You get a few veterans in the fold, very startable veterans. Granted, I'm not sure that the guys the Browns signed were of the quality that the Bears did sign, but they did the best they could with what they had, with the resources that they had. And you got some very, I don't know about quality, but good starting offensive linemen to put in front of whoever's going to be quarterback this year.
But you said it right there, Chad. And this is all of a sudden, this has become my mantra this offseason. The success of an offensive line as a group. And I've seen it. I've seen it over and over again. You can make a really good offensive line with just good players.
Yeah.
You just need 5 good players. You don't need really good players. You don't need great players.
Right.
You need 5 good players who know how to play together, because we don't talk enough about how the offensive line in all of football needs to be the most cohesive unit that understands and trusts where they're going to be, when they're going to be there, when to pass a guy off, when to take the guy coming up the gap or go to the outside because your guy to your left is going to get this guy blitzing up the gap. It is so much more than just individual. Zach, I love that Zach brought up PFF's metrics, and I think they have their use at times. I think they have no use in offensive line conversations. I think they serve no purpose,
right?
Because build an offensive line that understands how to play together. And does that mean there is no offensive line in all of football that has 5 all-pros? There isn't one. You're going to have guys that maybe don't grade the best here or there, but they understand how to play with the other guys on the line, and they are coached well, and they understand how to get it done. And that, to me, like when I look at what the Browns did, like Zion Johnson does not miss football games. Titus Howard does not miss football games. Like they got a bunch of durable guys they're going to be able to bank on to be out there all the time. And then you added in other good players. Like, I really like what the Browns have done. I don't want to oversell it. It's not like the Bears where you brought in Joe Thuney and like he's one of the best offensive linemen in football. But I think the Browns have the bones of a really good offensive line here.
Yeah, now that you said that, injuries incoming for the Browns offensive line this year.
Damn it.
Of course.
Mike's fault.
It's entirely my fault.
Yeah. I mean, it's and a lot of times those PFF grades, if a guy didn't grade out the best, a lot of times it could be because of the guy next to him missed the assignment.
Correct.
So it is. I mean, the only really true argument you can make for a guy that might have to get some individual work is left tackle, right? You know, he's because a lot of times your left tackle's on an island facing the other team's best pass rusher. So that's the only. But outside of that, they have to work as a unit.
Super fair. But I think they also have put themselves in a place where they didn't operate out of desperation. They didn't do anything crazy. They didn't sign anybody to any ridiculous contracts. And now you leave yourself in a position where you went into this going, we really have to address the offensive line. And to get
4 new starters?
Well,
yeah.
3 new starters.
Well, yeah.
And a guy in Tevin Jenkins, who it seemed like you preferred last year anyways, to get 3 new starters, and we'll see what happens at left tackle. I think what they did is they made it so that you also don't need to be desperate for the left tackle right now.
Right.
Like, I know we all want Joe Thomas. We all want the next great thing at left tackle, and they may have the chance to get that if they feel like that guy is Spencer Fano or Francis Mauangoa or Mason Freeling or whatever. But they may not feel that. And you can go in with this line next year and have DeJuan Jones start and be okay.
Yeah.
Now, you can't bank on him to stay healthy, but you could be okay. You could go in with him and a depth player behind him and be okay. You put yourself in a position where you don't have to make a desperation pick. Again, you want to go get Mason Freeling because you think he's the best offensive lineman in the draft? Go get him. You want to draft Mauangoa because you want a mean streak on your offensive line? Go do it. But like, you don't have to. And if instead you want to do what I want them to do, which is now all of a sudden I'm on team draft 2 wide receivers in the first round and just get it over with, by the way.
Yeah.
I want give me
the weapons. Give me the weapons. Give me all
Carnell Tate and Casey Concepcion, 6 and 24. Draft your depth offensive line or depth linebackers or get an edge rusher in the second round or whatever. But that's all of a sudden that's what you've let yourself do. You could do that. You could go Tate, Lemon, Tyson at 6, Concepcion or Cooper or whatever at 24, and then you could just go best player available the rest of the draft.
Right.
And you're fine. You're fine. You've made your team substantially better.
What happened? What's with Jordan Tyson? I feel like I haven't heard anything about him. Like there was a lot of buzz about him in the beginning, but what happened to him?
Well, nothing's happened to him. He's just I think people are labeling him as injury prone. I don't know that I love it because he had 3 injuries in college.
Yeah.
2 of which are not really concerning.
Okay.
Like he broke his collarbone. Like that. Okay. That's
sure.
not it doesn't mean you're gonna break your collarbone again.
Right.
He did have a leg injury that is a little bit concerning. I will say if he's healthy, I think he's the best wide receiver in this draft.
For sure. I totally agree with that too. It's just like you heard a lot of hype in the beginning of the process. You just haven't heard anything about him lately. So I was just wondering what the status there was.
It's hard in a college setting because you only get so many years to evaluate a guy. So when he has 3 injuries in college, it's like, he's injury prone. But like when one injury is a broken collarbone and one injury is, I can't remember what the other one is.
Hamstring.
That doesn't really concern you about anything.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm calling him injury prone. I think that just a couple things happened in college.
Right.
But still, okay, go Mekhi Lemon. I think he dropped the ball like twice in college. Like he's a stud. He's a stud. I don't care how weird he is in press conferences. He's a stud.
Gives a shit if he scores touchdowns.
But like, give me, and I know he had the knee injury, the ACL, the MCL, all that stuff. Yes, and that is concerning. But this also isn't 1989.
That's so many acronyms. Oh
we see guys come back from these injuries all the time. So see what happens. But yeah, I just like the way they've set themselves up, and we still don't know what the rest. Again, even the most staunch Andrew Berry haters have to acknowledge that like he's been pretty good on the trade side of things. So maybe there's a receiver that's nobody's even talking about. That's trade material. We don't know, but I like the way they've started.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing you're not going to be able to say after this offseason, and especially after this past draft, which apparently was Andrew Berry's draft. I mean, we'll never know how involved Paul DePodesta was in these things, but
it feels like he was really involved.
It feels like he was super involved
because this ever since last year, this all has a different tone to it.
Yeah, it sure does. But if for some reason it doesn't work out this year and Andrew gets fired, there's one thing you're not going to be able to say, and that's he didn't try, right? Because he's tried, right? He's done. He's recognized the weaknesses of this team. If you're going by this past draft and this start of this free agency, he's recognized the problems and he's addressing them twofold.
100%, and you gotta love to see it. And again, it's still going to boil down to quarterback, but that's the other thing that's driving me crazy. I brought it up briefly on my show at 7:00, but I can't get too crazy because I don't want to like yell at Fred. But I'll yell a little bit here.
I think you'd shock Fred if you did. He'd be like, huh? What?
I don't. He's too nice. I don't want to yell at Fred. I do not understand. And we had Scott Petrak, and he was too nice, and I couldn't yell at Scott, but I did argue with him a little bit. The other thing regarding the Browns, I don't understand this. Maybe you guys feel like this. I don't understand this feeling of, well, they got to they have to bring in another quarterback. They got to bring somebody else into that room. Why? Who and why? I don't understand that at all.
No, I don't feel that way. I don't feel like you need to bring in another quarterback. Because who are you going to bring?
Lose a quarterback in that room.
What'd you say?
You got to lose a quarterback in that room first.
Yeah, well,
yes.
Well, not this year. You're not going to lose him.
Yeah,
let's give him the wrong address or something to the stadium. I don't know.
Be awesome. That'd be hilarious.
We're playing at Brook Park this year, Deshaun. See you
See you by the airport.
I just don't.
He just shows up at Finney Stadium. He's like, hey, Andrew, it's Deshaun. What the fuck?
I'm at Byers Field, and I don't see anybody.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Unless you're bringing in a guy that you think is going to be your quarterback, I don't think it serves any purpose. Like, people are going to clamor for Kirk Cousins. Why? It serves no purpose. I'm not going to. One, he's not. Not only is he not a long-term solution at quarterback, he's not even a short-term solution at quarterback. So I don't understand that. Two, I don't really love Shedeur Sanders all that much. But I saw some flashes out of him that make me think, I would like to see a little bit more before we just discard the guy. Okay, what are we going to do? Bring in Kirk Cousins? And now we're not going to see any flashes because he's going to be on the bench. I don't understand. There's nothing about it for me that makes any sense. Just go into the year, just start Shedeur Sanders. I don't think he's all that good, but I'd rather just be really sure of that because he did show some flashes of good things. Start him for the year. Give him the leash and see if he runs with it. And all of a sudden, under Todd Monken and his crew and a better offensive line and some weapons, maybe he's better than you think he is. Or he stinks, like a lot of people think. And if he stinks, then next year, go get your quarterback.
Yeah, if he stinks, you're going to be in the best position you can possibly be to take one of the top quarterbacks next year. So,
when everybody, I had people screaming about how they think they should have gotten Geno Smith. Why? What?
No.
For what?
Anthony Richardson is a name that keeps getting thrown out there too.
Thank you. No, thank you.
You mean to tell me you want a guy that takes himself out of a game because he's too tired? Yeah. Like,
listen,
no.
What's the worst? Okay. All right. Does anybody think the Cleveland Browns are going to be a great football team this year?
No.
Does anybody, no matter what they do, okay, let's say the Cleveland Browns signed Kyler Murray. Are you immediately going to think of them as a Super Bowl contender?
No. I would think of them as a possible playoff team, though.
Yeah.
Listen, actually, Kyler Murray is probably not the best example.
Yeah, that's a horrible example.
Yeah. There are two guys.
That sounds kind of great.
There's a couple guys. If they brought in Kyler Murray, I'd be like, cool. Let's
make the playoffs
better than people talk about.
Yeah.
And if they pried Mac Jones away, I think he's the guy that has a chance to be the.
He's part of your
Sam
future,
Darnold.
right?
He's young.
He's part of your future. Like if you sign Kirk Cousins, like no, he's not part of your future.
Well, and honestly, Kyler Murray's got like 2 or 3 years before the legs aren't gonna, save him anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
For me, roll it back with the room you have it now. Dylan Gabriel, Deshaun Watson, and Shedeur Sanders. Name Shedeur your starter. Roll it with that room. What's the worst case scenario? You suck real bad. And then you draft a quarterback high next year where there's hopefully going to be a bunch of them available. What's the best case scenario? Well, that might also be the best case scenario. The other scenario is Shedeur Sanders is an NFL quarterback, and you find out.
Right.
Do that, and then figure it out. Like right now, what you're doing, you did yeoman's work last year, improving the roster. They got much better from just a roster perspective last year. You're doing it again this year. Okay. see what you got, get your quarterback next year, or roll with Shedeur Sanders. Please do not bring in. I don't want to hear about a camp battle between Kirk Cousins and fucking Shedeur Sanders. It serves no purpose.
Right.
No purpose.
Yeah.
And Deshaun Watson, I mean, he's going to be battling too. So
Adam Schefter thinks that there's people out there that think Deshaun's going to start.
Listen, I talked about it with Fred on the show, and he agreed with me. I am terrified that Deshaun Watson's going to do what he does. He's going to get to practice and look great. Dude's a practice warrior. I'm terrified of that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just please don't do something stupid.
You know what? If you could throw him out there for 4 starts and get him to a tradable state that we could actually maybe unload some of his salary and maybe get a pick out of it.
That stupid asshole is going to rupture his Achilles again.
Point?
He's going to get booed off the field at home again. And then he's going to go be taking selfies in Italy with a Lamborghini that he rented. He can't get out of here soon enough.
Listen, if I'm the Cardinals, yeah, I'm totally taking him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why not?
Right. All right. So again, I didn't mean to finish on that, but I do think the Browns are off to a very good start to the offseason. I love what they've done so far, and hopefully they continue doing that. Off of football real quick, let's just talk about our other teams. We'll just do little quick hitters. And let's go to the Columbus Blue Jackets, who made a really great trade, apparently. And it's paying dividends because the turtleneck is killing it down there in Columbus. And the Blue Jackets just remain hot. They just remain hot. They decimated the Tampa Bay Lightning the other night. Just dominated them at home. It was awesome.
I loved that trade from the get-go. I loved the contract. I loved everything that Connor Garland brings to this team. I said it in the video I made. I will continue to love this guy. And he's a guy that Columbus can rally around. A guy who's just going to give his all. A guy who's just feisty. He's fast. He's physical. Can score goals. I love that guy. As far as the Tampa Bay game goes, last night was the first time, because I watched the replay today. Last night was the first time that we saw the Columbus Blue Jackets team under Rick Bowness that we saw prior to the Olympic break.
Yes.
They were dominant in all facets of the game. They were clogging up the middle. They took a Tampa Bay Lightning team that is still really good. Even after getting rid of guys like Steven Stamkos, they're still really, really good. And they held them to 18 shots and only 2 goals. Elvis played well last night. Elvis was seeing it so well. And they dominated in all facets. And, even with how the up and down start they've had ever since the Olympic break has come out, they're still 14-2-3 under Bonus. So that's nothing to scoff at. So if this team they needed, right? After the first few games coming back from break, they needed a game like last night. So hopefully that carries over into tomorrow in Florida and ending the road trip with, I don't remember who. But I mean, this team's going to be in it right until the end, right? They're still 2 points behind Boston, and they've got 2 more with Boston at home, and 3 points behind the Islanders, who they also have another game left with the Islanders as well. So, and 19 games remaining. We're getting down to the nitty gritty here, boys. So let's hopefully they can make it.
Elvis has got me feeling good. It was very noticeable a couple games ago. It was very noticeable the Jet is not seeing the puck very well. He looked unsteady,
right?
To say the least. Yeah. And then Elvis came in and played that game yesterday, and I went, "Whoa, this dude he's seeing it. He's seeing it. We're getting good Elvis.
There he is.
But that line of Johnson and Monahan and Garland, man, has been a revelation. And now the Jackets are throwing out 2 or 3 lines that every time they're out there, you're going, man, they are beating the other team to the puck. They look faster and stronger and more skilled, and they're getting good looks. And all of a sudden you're seeing kind of beginning of the year, Kirill Marchenko kind of showing back up a little bit because he kind of disappeared in the middle there. It has been very fun lately. Very fun. That trade has been awesome.
Yeah, he was hurt for a minute, but man, I mean, when you look at and I got to give credit to Don Waddell too. I mean, listen, trading for Charlie Coyle, who's having a career year.
Yes.
Mason Marchment and Connor Garland. I mean, these guys have been incredible for this hockey team.
I had to stop myself, Chad, while you bring that up. I had to stop myself because we got to the trade deadline, and I texted you guys. I want to maybe like one more thing. Like,
right.
Go overboard trying to win this year. Like, give me one more thing. It's kind of back to what we were talking about with Zach and the Guardians of like, just go, take risks, go overboard to try to win. It's right in front of you. And then I had to take a step back. And realize that, yeah, they only made the move for Garland at the deadline, but the Marchment trade just kind of early, just out of the blue. You just had a Marchment trade. And the Coyle deal, and like, if they would have made those 3 moves all at the deadline, you'd be like, oh my God, the Blue Jackets just dominated the trade deadline. So like, it didn't all come at once, but the Blue Jackets have done well to just improve the team all year. Yeah.
And I mean, you know, another thing I appreciate about those moves is there was no waiting around for it, right? Like Don Waddell, and the coaching change too. Don Waddell saw a problem and he went out and he fixed it. There was no like, we'll see if this team comes together. We'll see if this. No, he saw a problem and he went out and he fixed it. And it's so far, every move he's made has worked out so well.
Kudos to Don Waddell and the Blue Jackets, who are knocking on the door of postseason hockey. And that would be very fun, especially after the way this year started, where it did not look like they were going to be in that boat. But man, have they come around and played much better.
If they miss the playoffs this year, I'm blaming Dean Evison.
Yes. Real quickly on the other side, before we get out of here, we got one more team to talk about. That's the Cleveland Cavaliers. They took a loss in Orlando tonight. But I think their bounce back has been nice. The trades they made, the 2 big deals they made have been working out. Orlando, right now, I have a concern about some of the lineups that Kenny Atkinson is throwing out there, because he will just roll with these lineups of guys that can't really create offense. And it seems to just wind up with Thomas Bryant, like, taking a lot of shots. And that is a bad recipe for the Cleveland Cavaliers if they want to win. But right now they're playing without Jared Allen. But they're about to get Jared Allen back. They're about to get Max Strus back. And so nobody is going to be hurt for the Cavaliers for the first time this season. This entire season, there isn't going to be a single injured player for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And they've got, you talked about just having a certain number of games left. The Cavaliers have 16 games left themselves before the postseason hits. They're 40-26, which, again, remember, it wasn't very long ago. It was like December that they were a 500 basketball team. So they've been a much better team the second half. And they've got 16 games. If you can get Jared Allen back and you can get Max Strus into the fold, you have got 16 games to figure out consistency. Because that, to me, right now, is the only thing that makes me nervous about the Cavaliers. Because if they're healthy, Donovan Mitchell and James Harden play exceptionally well together. James Harden plays exceptionally well with Jared Allen. I think there's some things that need to be worked out with Evan Mobley and how they play with him. But 16 games, and remember, when you get to the playoffs in the NBA, guys, your rotation shrinks dramatically. And you're only going to have maybe 8 guys out there playing. So now you've got your starters, and you got 3, maybe 4 guys on the bench that are going to have to prove that they are worth minutes in the postseason. And that's going to be Sam Merrill. That's going to be Dennis Schroeder. That's going to be Keon Ellis, and probably Dean Wade. And that's, or, like that group. But they just have to come together and work on consistency. I think the Cavaliers are in a really good place if they can use the last 16 games to get to that. I don't really care at this point what their record is at the end of the season. They got 16 games left. Let's say they go 10-6 and they finish with 50 wins. Cool. I do not care that they won 12 games less or whatever than they won last year. But you get to 50 wins and you're able to develop some chemistry and consistency. I honestly think this is a Cavaliers team that can be poised to make a run, because I look at the other teams Yeah, Boston's dangerous with Jason Tatum back. Am I going to say I think the Cavs are just a much better team than Boston? No, but I think they've got a shot. Do I think the Cavs can physically, like right now, do I think the Cavs can physically dominate the New York Knicks? Yes. Do I think they can out-talent other teams in the East? Yes. I think everything's right there, right in front of these guys. I like what the Cavs have done. I know they lost tonight, but I am all in on these Cavaliers.
Yeah, just get me to the playoffs.
Are you ready for it? You're just ready for the playoff?
Yeah, honestly. I mean, you obviously you want to see them improve and like be playing their best basketball heading towards the playoffs. But I mean, that's what these years have been about. That's what these Mobley years have been about, right? Yeah. That's what these Mobley and Jared Allen years have been about. It's like we all right. We know what they can do in the regular season. Is can they flip that switch and turn it over in the playoffs? Well, Harden's going to help. Obviously, Harden's going to help out big time. But Harden has his own playoff issues too. So it just. Can you execute and win in the playoffs? They're going to make them. Like no one's worried about whether they're going to make the playoffs or not. It's just what kind of basketball are you playing heading into the playoffs?
Yeah. Well, we will find out because just a few short weeks left of the NBA season, just a few short weeks left of the NHL season. Again, we are entering the best time of the year. Well, one of the two best times of the year as sports fans. Conference tournaments and college basketball are underway. Now I can finally care about college basketball.
Yeah.
We're about to get to NBA and NHL playoffs. We're going to have the NFL draft coming up. We got Major League Baseball coming up. Joe's going to be at the first Guardians game in Seattle in 2 weeks. And then Joe's going to be here in Cleveland for the opener in the beginning of February. I'm going to that. I'm excited for that. But it's a great time. So, boys, let's wrap up episode 305. Let's do it. Put a bow on it with our cheers of the week. So, Joe, why don't you kick us off? What's your cheer of the week this week?
I got to cheers my in-laws, Peter and Liz. We are moving to our first house in Seattle Friday after 11 months living in their basements, and they have been gracious hosts. It's been the most unproblematic living with in-laws I think I've could ever ask for. So,
can we clarify real quick? Can we clarify living in your in-laws' basement? Your in-laws' basement is a full-ass apartment.
Bedroom apartment, basically.
It's a full ass. It's a 2-bedroom apartment. It's got a kitchen, a living room, 2 beds, bath.
Yeah. Oh Jesus.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh okay.
Full ass apartment.
So living in your in-laws' apartment, really, not in the basement.
Yeah. It's got its own entrance. Like you don't have to walk through the house to come in and out. Like, come on.
Like, is it connected? Like, do they you just come downstairs? Do you open a door and you come downstairs?
It's the basement. It just also has a kitchen and 2 bedrooms and
All right.
living room.
All right. Well, cheers to that. Cheers to Peter and Liz. Chad, cheer of the week.
My cheers goes to Manaway, Ohio, for being the Bigfoot hub of America. It was
Bigfoot hub.
Yeah, apparently the Bigfoot Society has been tracking major activity, Joe, over the past few days in Manaway. And I think the one thing I appreciate the most is every sighting's been a bit different, and every Bigfoot has been like a different height, a different color.
Sure.
March 6th, the local researcher observed a 9-foot tall brown male standing 120 yards away from him on State Route 44. March 7th, I feel like it's like unsolved mysteries. Like March 7th, Manaway area. A second witness, Dylan Obney, reported an 8-foot figure with long arms and dark black hair. March 9th, around Garrettsville, the activity shifted 8 miles east.
Home of the G-Men.
A hiker encountered an 8-foot Sasquatch covered in black fur.
Damn.
Chad, where have you been? Where's your whereabouts been on those dates?
Oh, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, Joe, because March 9th, 1 hour ago, a resident at a dead end near the woodline spotted a 6-foot brown figure near the woodline. I'm not confirming.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear a 6-foot pasty white ass figure. What?
That's just because of my influencer.
It's the hair.
That's because of my influencer. I'm not confirming or denying that I wasn't in Wyndham. I probably wasn't, because Wyndham, I'll just get drugged and robbed. But I can
denying I'm not Bigfoot.
I cannot confirm or deny that I'm not Bigfoot. Yeah,
it's fair. Hey, I love that. Cheers! Shout out to Bigfoot, who is out there, but also in the era of everybody's got cameras in their pockets at all times. We still have no videos or
multiple Bigfoots. There's multiple. According to this, there's multiple Bigfoots. So here we are.
Big feet. All All right, my cheers. I'm going to go back to basketball. I've got 2 cheers basketball related. Cheers number 1, Bam Adebayo. That was fucking awesome last night. I was glued to my TV. 83 points in a game. Bam Adebayo. Anybody that poo-poos it or naysays it or whatever, we had people arguing against it because Kobe scored 81. I know the reverence we talk about Kobe Bryant with, and I know especially because he passed. But his records can be broken. It's fine. Like, it's fine. We don't root against things just because Kobe did them or whatever. Bam going for 83 points. He couldn't even walk at the end of it. Like, he was exhausted. He got to the free throw line over 40 times in that game. And I watched a video. Of every foul that was called that sent him to the free throw line. And there wasn't one that you could argue. Like, he was getting hammered out there. He was getting hacked. Like, he earned the trips to the free throw line. 83 points, the second most points scored in an NBA game of all time. Shout out to Bam Adebayo. And then my last one. And it pains me a little bit because they were a rival kind of in the MAC, but shout out to the Miami Redhawks, man. An undefeated college basketball regular season is awesome. It's impressive. It's unbelievable. They're going to come to the MAC tournament. They're going to win it. I think people are going a little too crazy with what they think is going to happen. I think they're going to win, but even if they don't, Miami is an NCAA tournament team. I don't care. I don't care about any of this. I know they didn't play one team that was in like the top 140 or whatever. It doesn't matter.
It's not their fault.
It is impossible to do what they did. It is unbelievably. You could play, every team you play could be significantly worse than you. And to win 31, 32, whatever games and not lose one, not have one night where you drop a game is unbelievable. It is unbelievable what they did. And so big shout out to Miami. I hope they win the MAC tournament. But if they don't, they better be in that field of 68 at the end because they have earned it. They've earned the right to play. They've earned the right to play.
They came real close a few times, but hey, they managed to overcome it.
That's right. All right, boys, let's get out of here. Episode 305, last order of business for us, just to give our thank yous. First thank you goes to our host, the OBR. Check it out right here. I'm going to put the QR code up. You can scan it. And if you scan it, it'll take you right to the subscription page where you can subscribe to the OBR and make sure you are tuned into everything Cleveland Browns and then hanging out with us, talking all of our favorite sports teams on Wednesday nights. So make sure you get over to the OBR and subscribe. Second thank you goes out to our special guest tonight from The Athletic, from the Selby is Godcast. Just a great time talking baseball with Zack Meisel. So make sure you go follow Zack. He covers the Guardians as well as anybody, and probably better, to be honest. And we love having him as a friend of the show. So shout out to Zack Meisel for coming on and talking Guardians baseball with us. Finally and lastly, our last thank you goes out to all of you, everybody that joined us live here tonight. We appreciate you. And if you couldn't catch us live, remember, you can always catch us Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you want to catch us. But we appreciate you. We love you. And we thank you for the support. That's going to do it for episode 305. We will see you next week for episode 306. Until then, go follow the show at The Garage Beers on the socials. But for Joey Whalen, for Chad Meyer, I am Michael Keefe. We're out of here. Talk to you next week. Cheers, everybody.